out for a paddle today. This warm winter day in February. A little windy. I'm glad to see that the lake and the river are back up. Paddling in the Saluda River today. And if you watch my last winter fishing video on here, a lot of this was dry land. It was down so low. Nice to have some water to paddle in. Paddling circles around me.
I just want to go in a circle.
Oh, okay. So peaceful back here in these flats. Wonder if we'll see any deer today. That heron out there. I think we'll squeeze through. Oh well, it's a huge hornet nest back there. I'm gonna stay away from them. I said we'd be able to paddle through here. We might be able to. I can't imagine anything wanting to make a path to a hornet's nest. Maybe a path away from a hornet's nest. Yep. There we go. Easy peasy. Saw my last video on the river. I was standing on solid ground right here, and there was nothing but mud out in the distance and trees. It was really changed, a really big difference. Glad to see the water's up. There's mistletoe. I love the springtime, but in the winter you get such a different view on the riverbanks. Catch a lot of the wildlife more easily if it's in range. Everything's not covered up with leaves. It's different kind of pretty in the wintertime. I hope I caught that like a young osprey. Or that dark, maybe a young eagle. I always think about the mountains when we're up in this area of the river. The steep banks and all the rocks. Whew. That wind's hitting us now coming around the bend. Back out on open water. Woo! Yeah, you can see it. The tree has been gnawed on pretty good there. There are beaver in here. I've seen several. Along with deer, otters, herons, eagles, osprey. Pretty wild area up in here. Talked about this area reminding us of the mountains, and wow, look at that. That really does remind you of the mountains there. Nice bluff overlooking this cove. It's beautiful. This is one of those quiet little coves we enjoy so much. See my sweetheart paddling way ahead of me. Her kayak is about the weight of a leaf. And I'm in my big old fishing kayak and she can just run circles around me. But she waits for me to catch up. Always amazed at the amount of quartz that's in the area. You can see all the rocks on the hillside. And there's a cooler that got washed up when the river was high. Stuck on a branch up there. So we don't want to see much of that. Rather see the quartz. You can see a little stream flows into the cove back in here. Probably not much water coming in unless it's raining. Or has rained. It's beautiful. Hey guys. And we think these might be trillium. I need to familiarize myself more with flowers. But we see these in the mountains all the time. And we're about 100 miles away from any mountains.
Little pretty footprints. Maybe a possum?
This is a strange place that we've been to before. It's strange because we can't quite figure out what was going on here. There's an old road that comes all the way down to the water, and you probably see that trees are growing up in the road now, so it hasn't been used for quite some time as a road. And there's some pieces of concrete in the ground, and a few other things. Let me get around the other side and get a different angle. On this side, you can tell those rocks were stacked there like it was a roadside, and there were some markings on an old tree up here at one time with really huge chain links. And of course these rocks here are like a natural landing. My guess is that maybe it was a ferry crossing here. Pretty wide across the river now, but before the lake was backed up, it wouldn't have been this wide, and all that shallow area over there would have been ground. So, I don't know. I'm gonna get a little eerie feeling every time we come by here. I don't know why. Some of those mysteries haven't figured out yet.
Retaining wall.
Yeah. Beautiful green moss. Now this is amazing right in here, because if you watched the last fishing trip in the river, there was just a little creek flowing through here. The cove was dry, other than, well, muddy anyway. And I was fishing the little creek in here. Lost count of the green sunfish that I caught. There are a bunch of them in here. But it's just amazing how things change through the year. Boy, that wind is coming right out of the west and blowing us backwards. Getting out of the wind now. These creeks that we find to paddle up, or we found by a combination of exploring and Google Maps. Sometimes we just want to see how far we can go. Dead ahead's a beaver den. See the wood stacked up real nice there. And this is a bonus paddle because there are two creeks here. And this is the intersection. Pretty cool. Yeah, wildlife superhighway across through the woods there. So peaceful back here. There's a deer track. There's a deer right here. So we've seen a lot of deer out here, so we know there's deer out here. Another beautiful place. Somebody saw fit to mark with a beer can in the tree. It's very nice. Look at his tree roots. That is amazing. Where the water's washed underneath them. Wash that soil out from around them anyway. Beautiful. Moss on those rocks. I guess that's a dead end there. Hopefully you can see it there in the distance. It's an osprey nest. Sure it'll be really active pretty soon. Has some big old birds and really have some awesome talons on them too. Don't want to go hand to hand with them. Osprey nest. I think it's huge. The wind swirls around these islands. And there's a perfect example of the beaver's work. You can see where that tree is gnawed to a pencil point, basically. I felled it, and I guess they decided it was too big to drag away. Pretty awesome. Hello, Mr. Turtle.